Preview. Preview.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Welcome to Texas, I guess. I'm driving. I'm like, I need some gas for the car, so I like pull into this station. Or I'm about to pull into the station, and three police cars just descend on the station very quickly. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm taking a left turn here and going, just like steer into a Wells Fargo nearby, just to get away, basically. And so I like park and I check things out. So if I'm smart, I put the video up on. I took a short little video of what was going on, and sure enough, the police get out, weapons drawn. They're getting somebody out of the car. It was it's fun. It's fun to see a bunch of police officers with their weapons drawn. That's always a great time. Was had by all. Probably not the nobody was having a good time. The person I think about in this whole situation is often the gas station owner who's sitting there. Their life kind of sucks. They're like, well, not much going on today. Going to sell some scratch tickets, and not much happening. And then suddenly there's four police cars and a little standoff going on around the pumps, which I don't know. Exactly. The reality of what open gunfire in a gas station would mean. But I've watched enough John Wick films to suggest that might cause some problems if some weapons go off. But I don't know. What do I know about such things? Anyway, there you have it. What a day. Anyway, so here's a viewer question, because let's go into that. Viewer question is, hey Perch, thanks for the show. Appreciate everything you do. I'm always surprised by the people who don't get your videos. Are they even trying to listen? I ask myself the same question every time. Anyway, I've got a question for you that is far-fetched, but I'm curious about what you think of the idea. With comic books struggling and people needing to increase numbers, and in particular the big two trying to find new readers and new interests, why don't Marvel and DC try a talent swap, where they basically take top creators from their company that may be signed to exclusives and let them do a graphic novel or 2-part, 3-part, or even 4-part series for the other company? The idea here is it's something kind of fresh and new for the fans to see creators who we don't normally see work on the other company's material, and that would be pretty exciting. And in addition to that, it would expose people who are maybe all DC or are all Marvel to the opposite company's products. Do you think this would be an interesting idea? Do you think that this could actually lead to some additional sales? All right. Thanks for the mail. Thanks for the question. It's an interesting idea. Here's my take on it. If we're talking about the 80s, this would be more probably a bigger, better idea. If you think about how creators work today, there's not a lot of exclusive creators working only in one company. I mean, I'm trying to think right now, if you were to say, who's a creator in DC that hasn't worked for Marvel, that would be a big name draw, meaning, somebody that you recognize. I mean, who are those people? I mean, you could say Bendis, but Bendis was at Marvel just a few years ago. So was Tom King. James Tynion, I guess. But if they announce like James Tynion is going to come over and write, an issue of Spider-Man, people would buy it because Tynion's a big name. But I don't know that it would do much for the companies. I don't know that there'd be a bunch of people who'd be like, wow, I'm going to check out Spider-Man for the first time. I've only been following Tynion in DC, and because Tynion works and does indie books as well. So I don't know that there's anything like that. Hey, Sean Murphy, friend of the channel. Sean Murphy goes over and does, I don't know, the Avengers. He does Spider-Man. Again, we'll just stick with Spider-Man for everything. He does Moon Knight. It'd be interesting to see Sean Murphy do something like that. I think if you asked if Sean Murphy could do Star Wars, I think he'd absolutely love that and he'd kill that. But I don't know that it would bring fans over from DC and Marvel, because the thing is, in 2022, I don't know that there's that many comic readers that exclusively buy Marvel and DC. Most of them are already going back and forth between the two companies. They're already, doing that. Again, in the 80s, absolutely, you had diehard Marvel people, diehard DC people, and if you were to do something like that then, probably would have a pretty interesting impact. I think there'd definitely be some people who are into it. But today, I don't, if you're talking about for sales, I don't think it would mean too much. I don't think it would create a business opportunity there. Now, as a fan, would I like to see that happening? Absolutely. I'd love to see some of these things. I mean, if we're playing it the other direction, there may be a little bit more incentive for Marvel people going over to DC. Like I could see how DC would benefit from it. I'm not sure if Marvel would benefit from it. So as an example, if Donny Cates came over to do I don't know something on DC, it's like Donny Cates Batman. Um, yeah, that would probably generate a lot of interest. But again, I don't know that it would bring readers over to DC who weren't reading Batman, people who like Donny Cates who want to see what that looks like. But I don't think it would. I don't think you'd get that effect of people going over, reading a couple issues, and be like, "Wow, I love this DC stuff. I'm going to stick around." I think the people who would think that way are already there, and I don't think anything would potential change. Um, there's been ideas of talent swaps and crossovers and other things that have happened in the past. I think that people have in their minds that if Marvel and DC would do some kind of crossover, some kind of big event together, that it would help save the comic industry. And I don't know that it would, is the thing. I don't, first off, I don't, I mean, what does save the comic industry mean exactly? You have to define that. So if you're saying like Marvel and DC do a crossover, and the sheer power of that crossover would lead to every comic is selling more than 250,000 copies. Here's the thing: I think if you had Marvel and DC crossover, I think you'd get about 100,000. I mean, it would definitely get sales because they would also pump the marketing up, and they would do variant covers, and they would do all those kinds of things. But I don't know that you'd get like mega sales. I think you'd get very solid, 100, 120. If you did a lot of variant covers, maybe get 250 for the first issue. But I think overall, I don't know that it would do save the industry kind of numbers. Again, you need to define what that exactly means. But if you're looking for something that's going to lift all the comics up and generate like million sales and something that's going to last for 5 years, basically bring a bunch of interest into comics, I don't think a Marvel DC crossover does it. I don't think it would do that. I think the people who would buy that would be people who are already buying comics. They would just all buy that comic. So you'd see strong sales, but you wouldn't see any kind of bubble effect of all these new readers coming in. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I think if you're talking about what do the normies want, I don't hear people saying, "Man, it'd be great as if they had the Justice League meet the Avengers." No, nobody's saying that. Nobody really wants to see Robert Downey Jr., Henry Cavill on the screen together. Like let's have Iron Man versus Superman. I don't. Nobody's asking for that. I think if you did it, it would make money, but I don't know that it would make in-game money. I don't. I mean, the thing is, if you look at the Spider-Man No Way Home film, it made a ton of money, but it wasn't. It was because it was paying off a bunch of kind of legacy films. If you could have some kind of massive event movie where Doctor Strange rips a hole in the multiverse and out comes like Christopher Reeve, Superman. Obviously impossible because he's dead, but that would be the kind of stuff like that would get people into theaters. But in general, I just don't think Marvel versus DC has a huge appeal like some people might think it does. I think those days are more or less over in terms of where that was going to be a big draw financially. Now, would I like to see it? I mean, sure, I'd like to see everything. I mean, here's the thing. All these ideas, I mean, hell, try it. Put out the comic. If it's, I'll read anything. And, hopefully it's good. But I don't think this is a big money-making idea. I like the way you're thinking. So I love the fact that these ideas come up and people are like, how can we do something different? How can we utilize the talent we have to kind of create some new opportunities? That is absolutely the right way to think about things, and I think that's what we have to do every day. That's what the comic publishers should be doing. That's what everybody in comics should be doing. Is trying to find like how do we do something new? How do we bring more attention? How do we get more money? How do we build this industry up? The fact I love these questions Same thing with the question. There was a question in a video a while back, like, what if Bucky was the Black Panther? A lot of people got really triggered by that question. Like, how dare you suggest such a thing? It would break all continuity, and just craziness. We want people asking questions like that. We want people asking all kinds of questions. We want people thinking, how do we not be satisfied with what we've currently got, and how do we bring more business into comics? That's the goal. That should be the goal. So, I like the spirit of it. I think, again, if you were to go 20, 30 years ago, that would probably be pretty huge, pretty epic to have a crossover like that, to have some kind of talent swap. I think that'd be an entertaining, interesting idea. In 2022, I don't think you have enough uniqueness in the talent where that would matter. I don't know if there's many people who haven't already crossed over and done something for the other company. There's nobody really like that. I mean, put it this way, Pepe Larraz, big name in Marvel right now. RB Silva, another big name in Marvel right now. Those two. If you announced, hey, Pepe Larraz, RB Silva are going to be doing an issue of The Flash and an issue of Wonder Woman, you'd probably say, wow, that'll probably look pretty good. I should pick that up. But you wouldn't have surprise. You wouldn't have people like shocked, like, oh my God, that's a Marvel guy doing a DC book. What? I can't. I have to buy that and everything that surrounds that. That's so cool. And you had a little bit of that when John Byrne hopped companies way back in the day. You had this feeling like now a bunch of stuff's going to get unlocked, and we're going to finally see what this artist looks like when doing another company's characters. And they're just that. I think those days are behind us. So that's my take on it. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Would this be shocking? Would it be surprising? And who would these people be that would cross over that are quote unquote company men or women? Are there any? I'd like to see Jonathan Hickman do Legion of Superheroes. I'm a little terrified of what that would look like now after where the X-Men stuff wound up. But that'd be exciting. But even there, I don't see Jonathan Hickman as a Marvel guy, where it would be a big get for DC. I mean, it'd be a big name to work on that talent, but I don't think it would be like stealing from Marvel. It doesn't feel like that way to me anymore. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.